Hi, so I'm back with a new video and let's talk about Monolith. So I'm back with a new horror film. This is like a horror sci-fi, I would say, and it's an indie film that I was really excited to talk about and to watch. This film, I think it came out in a few countries last year, if I'm not mistaken, even though this is categorized as a 2022 release. I don't know, but it's coming out on VOD in most countries this year, like right now, on the 16th of February, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a pretty simple story and a simple film. And yeah, post that, let's just get into it. So, I would say Monolith is about a journalist that starts a podcast about like unsolved mysteries, and she gets an email about a really weird story and it goes from there. As I said, it's slightly sci-fi, and yeah, it's about conspiracies, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's one of those films that has one location, one actor. So this movie only stars Lily Sullivan, who you might remember from the Evil Dead Rise film that came out last year. And post that, let's get to my thoughts. So this was a really pleasant watch. I was really into it right from the beginning. I was invested. The story, yeah, it starts right away. There's not a lot of build up. You see like her working, you get a little bit of a backstory, but that backstory is also sprinkled throughout the film. But then it gets like straight away into the main story, the investigation that she's doing for the podcast. And this one has like a bit of those like in-screen films, the things that happen on screen, which I really like. It doesn't take place only on a screen, but it has a lot of like editing and going through emails and doing a research on a computer. So you see a lot of things happening in a screen, but it's not just about that. Still, I find really interesting when films dive into like streaming and YouTube and podcasts. So I really like that. And on top of that, the actual story was really interesting. As I said, right from the beginning, you get into it, you get a creepy vibe. You feel that something is about to happen, there's something going on. And on that regard, this film reminded me a lot of Archive 81. Both the series and the podcast. More the podcast, to be honest, because not only this is about a podcast, but the vibes and her voice really fits the podcast format. And I don't know, the way she was saying things really reminded me of Archive 81, as well as the actual story. So there's something there. If you know, yeah, it has the same vibes. It's not exactly the same thing, but it has the same vibes. I would say the only thing that I wasn't super into was the ending. It's an ambiguous ending, so not everyone will like it, but that's not why I wasn't super into it. I just think like there's one reveal towards the end that really got me. I wasn't expecting it. And then the actual climax happens, and that was a bit lackluster in my opinion. But I can see why they did what they did, and you can interpret things in multiple ways. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, people might read into it in mainly two different ways, but there's so much going on that, yeah, there's different things that people will take from it. And yeah, the ending is pretty much up to you. But I think there's a real one, like the real ending. Yeah, I don't know, but it's really ambiguous, and yeah, you make it what you want. On a technical level, as I said, the acting was really good. Like, Lily Sullivan carried the whole film, obviously, because she's the only one on screen. Everyone else is just on phone calls, or like emails and stuff, so you don't exactly see anyone else. And I really enjoyed the sound design. Obviously, this being about a podcast, the sound is really important, but also every other like little sound stuff that's happening. And yeah, the sound editing was really good and gave me the creepy vibes. So in the end, I would say to, yeah, go for this one. Mostly if you liked Archive 81, either the show or the podcast or both. If you liked both, I think you will really enjoy this film. But regardless if you liked Archive 81 or not, I think this is a really good indie film, like a small film. And yeah, it's really compelling, really entertaining and creepy. And it's only an hour and 30 minutes, so it's really easy to watch. It's not super disturbing or anything. It's a nice like horror sci-fi. So yeah, I would totally recommend you watch this one. And post there, let's get to my scores. So overall, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. As I said, I was super invested in the story right from the beginning. It did dip a little bit by the end. As I said, I wasn't super into the ending, but yeah, the beginning of the film is really, really strong, and yeah, I was really into it. Cinematography, I give it a 3 out of 5. There's nothing really wrong with it, but there, as I said, I much preferred the sound design over like how the movie looked. So yeah, there's nothing wrong. It's just pretty average, so I think a 3 is fair. And originality, I give it a 3.5 out of 5, because even though there's definitely other stories that things that you've heard before that are really similar to this one, I think there's enough unique details to make it like an original story. Yeah, it's a story that makes you think of a lot of other stories, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know, there's something about it that I found unique and different. So yeah, I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. So yeah guys, these are my thoughts on Monolith. If you have seen it already, let me know in the comments what you thought. If you haven't, as I said, I totally recommend you go watch it. It's available on VOD on February 16th. So if you end up watching it, also tell me what you thought. And yeah, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and I'll see you in my next video.